Hello and welcome to AMS2 Hot Lap Car Reviews, and today we're going to be doing a shootout between the 2001 Stock Car Brasil Toyota Corolla and the Chevy Cruze around the legendary Interlagos. So here we are barreling down the pit straight into the first turn, and the first thing I noticed is that the Chevy is not as comfortable on the brakes as the Toyota. However, the Toyota is a little bit more lively. The Chevy is most definitely more controlled around the long sweeping bends. In terms of straight line speed, there's very little to separate them, and there's very little time to separate them through that first sector. Braking hard into Descida do Lago, and the Chevy is much slower on turning, but much more controlled and a lot more traction through those bumpy areas. Again, we're going to be braking hard down into Ferradura, and the Corolla is definitely more unsettled, but the Chevy is definitely not as nimble, not as agile at all. A little bit of a lock-up and a slide from both cars going through the first of the hairpins as they race up to Bico de Pato. And again, another lock-up from the Chevy, definitely not as clean under braking as the Toyota, but much more controlled and much more traction out of those bends. Again, not having to take such a wide line there from the Chevy, but a big lead now being pulled out by the Toyota by nearly 0.4 of a second, coming out of that last bend, heading up onto the start-finish straight. Let's see if that traction advantage of the Chevy can help power it up the hill. Gaining an advantage, the Chevy's definitely getting closer. It's going to be a close finish, it's looking tight. Who's it going to be? Nearly neck and neck, and the Corolla has it with 0.1 of a second. Well, that was a stunningly close shootout. Both cars having slightly different strengths. The Corolla is definitely more nimble, but it is a bit more of a handful, whereas the Chevy is more composed in all areas except the braking zones. If I was to pick one for racing, it would almost definitely be the Chevy, because I reckon I could look after those tyres much better. But they're both fantastic to drive. If you haven't driven the 2001 Stock Car Brasil cars yet, I thoroughly recommend that you do, and I'll see you in the next one.